welcome, Reuben,
Well,
to the
thank you.
place. Yeah, and
Thank
back
you,
in
Suraj.
Stoke after a while.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I recently moved to Manchester
Yeah,
and just looking for new opportunity, business wise, life-wise.
yeah. And that was how we actually originally met. Now I've known you for since back in Bet365 days.
Yes.
We're going that far back. Now I was on LinkedIn, and from what I remember, now you tell me if the story is different.
Go on.
Yeah, you just kept creeping on my profile for a bit.
Definitely.
And I was like, I've seen, and then the first time I remember actually seeing you face to face was at Staff's Uni at one of the startup networking event thingies that they used to do. And I remember I saw you, and you're quite distinctive as a person because the way you carry yourself. And it happens with me. I'm not a tall man, so everyone's always quite a bit taller than me.
Yeah.
But you're particularly taller than me, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I've seen that guy somewhere, and I remember saying, I shook your hand, we said hello and everything. I remember saying, I've seen you somewhere, and I couldn't picture you where I'd seen you or anything like that. And at the time, I used to get around a lot because I think I'd only been in business for about 2 years.
Yeah.
At that point. And then it wasn't until I'd posted something on LinkedIn about that evening, and then you liked it, yes. And I was like, right, that's where I've seen this guy. But you were really in the precipice, I think, at the time, weren't you? Because you were kind of like, I want to do something and I want to move forward. This isn't taking me anywhere, but I need to. You actually were very strategic in that you try to build that network before you took the leap.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the vibe that I got, which I think is good. And I think it's one of the questions I get quite a lot is maybe a question to deal with at some point. Interesting to deal with it with you is people will go, how do I make a side hustle my main hustle?
Exactly.
Really, really hard sort of situation to be in. And you, along with me, at some point, you just jumped into the deep end, didn't you? Because you just left and were like, and I remember you had a conversation. I had a conversation with you about a conversation you had with your dad, who basically said to you, if you want to do this, just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to just take the leap. So that was sort of a, Russell stopped talking, and then we kind of just started having a general conversation on LinkedIn and all the rest of it. And then it was actually quite a bit later than that Enprise came about, wasn't it?
It was indeed.
It wasn't a sort of a straightaway thing. And then you actually then ended up becoming a client, and not on the legal side, but more like the personal stuff that I did with guiding and mentoring, and we did a lot of strategy work, which we'll go into. I think it was a really interesting, and one thing I'll talk a little bit about Enprise, and you kind of go into detail with it. The one thing I loved about it when we were talking about it was that I could see its international scalability, because what the focus really was discrimination.
Yeah.
And discrimination, unfortunately, happens in every country in this world.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to sit here and blame England and America and Canada about discrimination and colour and all the rest of it, because it happens everywhere. And the fact is, it blew my mind that it happens in Italy.
It does.
I was just like, Italy and Spain, some of the most chilled out countries in the world. I mean, these guys go to sleep at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, you just don't expect that sort of thing to happen. But it happens everywhere. And that's one thing I loved about sort of the situation and what you were developing, because I could see from the experience I had at the time, I was under contract with Virgin Startups. So I was really pushing on the startup scale up and that movement. And we were pushing on the Virgin side how to go international, because we needed to break it, because it was a very hard market at the time in England. And we were just coming out of the second COVID lockdown. Things were still hype, and we'd left Brexit at this point.
We did already.
Yeah, that had happened years back. So, but that was still an earthquake that was giving us the aftershocks, and then the sort of the COVID thing was happening. And this is pre-wars, pre-Trump, pre-Starmer, and all of that sort of stuff, which is just added to our problems, really. But the great thing, what I loved about it was it was so obvious how I could see the international scale of this happening, because the discrimination just happening everywhere. Yeah. And I just thought, and what we were trying to do, and you go into a little bit more detail for me, but it was like an incubator, which is great for me because it was a wicked point in time, because we were building incubators with Virgin Startups. So I could see I see where he's going with this. But you weren't just building any random incubator. This was actually quite focused towards a certain demographic from a certain country.
Yeah.
at a certain amount of time.
For me operating in another country.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And then there was that very the link that you had back to Italy was just so strong, and that isn't like for me. Although I have my Indian ancestry, my link to India isn't as strong as your link back to Italy because you're born there, brought up there, and everything. You then came to England.
Yeah.
So and it was wicked because I thought what this could be is a copy and paste.
Yeah.
In any country. Because unfortunately, discrimination happens in every sort of country. So give us a bit of detail then. Sort of, when we had that conversation, you were really early stages, and sort of
literally, I didn't really have any clue. Like
yes,
like as you said, as soon as I got into that phase into before just quitting my 9 to 5, I was like, what should I do? Or what can I do?
Yeah.
Because at that point, I didn't really figure out why I wanted to do it so badly. Well, actually, I knew it why, but I didn't know how to do it. I had the question of, I'm outside of the country. How can I interact with my people? How can I get the right structure to start a business that could be a profitable business and actually can get me some returns, but also have some social impact?
Yes.
So that was the big question that I was like, I need some support.
Just stepping back a sec, what were your emotions and feelings when you were trying to sort of making this move? Was it just an element of I can see a gap of something, or was there I don't feel fulfilled, I want to bring a little bit more to the world, this isn't what I had planned? So what were your feelings at that time?
I believe that the main thing was me being very emotional driven at that point.
Yeah.
Because I was going through me having sort of like a career already.
Yeah.
I was satisfied with kind of my professional career. I had like my standard going from the basic, entry level role to almost managerial. I was getting there.
Yeah.
So I said, there's something more I can do back home. Because again, I had the lingering thought about going back with the family, trying to support the family.
Okay.
So working on a business level,
yeah,
said that could be something that could bring me back home, support more.
So you wanted to give back to back home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So usually people when they say go back home, it's like your own motherland, or because I'm originally from Africa.
Yeah,
most people will say,
so
okay,
Italy's an in between, really. Isn't
exactly.
It? Yeah.
So in terms of the emotions, I went through a bit of. I was probably afraid because I was just thinking about myself and saying, I'm doing this by myself. I'm alone.
So you were afraid of
just the failure bit. The failure bit, but also the judgment, because that the thing about.
Did you think you were going to fail in business, or were you failing as a career at that
point? Probably say in business, because at the career level, I was pretty much okay.
But that wasn't enough for you.
No. Because that was the standard part, the standard part, right? Because I had a good job.
Yeah.
Right. Good salary.
Yeah.
I was traveling quite a lot, so I could actually really explore places that I didn't really explore when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I was satisfied personally.
But you did, but there was a little emotion there about you weren't giving back.
Yes, I needed something more.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that I was giving back is just for me. So that was kind of the selfish bit.
Right? Yes. I suppose. Yeah, it is.
And then that kind of triggered me into, okay, what else can I do? Then aside of my condition, which I was advocating already with my modeling career.
Yeah. Okay. So that was you're doing the modeling on the side of
of my 9 to 5.
Right.
So I was kind of fulfilling that part with my community of people affected with vitiligo.
So you felt you were giving back on the vitiligo side.
Exactly, and nothing was business related to that. But I wanted to adventure myself into the business perspective and say, okay, there's something I can give to my older community.
Yes. Yeah. It's so interesting, is it? So is there anyone? Where do you think you get this business bug from? Is anyone back home, mum, dad, granddad, grandma, that you might get that from? Because I get asked this, and people will go, what makes a business person? Like, do you just kind of one day go, oh, wake up one morning and go, I'm a business person? And I always say, I think that I get it a little bit from, and this is going to go deep, but I think I get it a little bit from like my grandma from my mum's side and my granddad from my dad's side. But I also think there's a hustle element that comes when you move to a different culture.
It 100%.
That where you got to go, right, I got to pull this together. And for example, when a lot of people like my grandma and granddad came to England, the issue came that they didn't have recognised education in this country. So they're never going to get the managerial jobs, etc. And there was various amounts of discrimination involved with it as well. So it's kind of, there was the joke that the Indians come over and they buy corner shops. And the thing was, a lot of people at the time, we're going back to 70s and 80s, were leaving the corner shops for jobs because at the time the jobs were offering great pay, stability, and additional stuff.
Exactly.
But the Asians and various other cultures, Caribbean cultures are the same. They knew they weren't going to get that because they weren't fitting in at that point.
Yeah.
So the irony then was that they then bought the shops because the shops were being sold. So there was a great opportunity there. And so they had to then adopt the business person model.
Yeah.
And then 20 years, 30 years later, we see how that's really worked. So do you think there's someone back there, or did you just have that cultural shift to go, okay, this isn't going to work in the way, I need to do something for myself, I need to go and get?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I think that me particularly was the cultural shift.
Yeah.
And then just recently, just talking to my my mother, I discovered that my granddad back in Ghana,
right,
actually had that entrepreneurial spirit, and he was running himself like a petrol station.
Right.
And I told him
how we could do with him still having the petrol stations in today's world.
Yeah,
right?
that would
we're gonna all look all in from that.
And he started that after the independence in Ghana.
Of Ghana. Okay.
So that was during the 60s.
Yes. Became independent from
England. So the United Kingdom.
It's a former British colony.
So it is a former British colony.
Did not know that.
So
and geographically, sorry, just within Africa, it's middle-ish, isn't it?
So Ghana would be the west part of Africa.
West, right?
So we have one of the few English-speaking countries within the west part of Africa.
Otherwise it's French.
Because the majority is French,
yeah.
Right? So we have Sierra Leone, Liberia, and of course Nigeria. The majority, but then the rest.
Shout out my Nigerian brothers. We love Nigeria.
Nigeria is our cousin country.
And is it not majority Muslim on that side of Africa?
Exactly. And for instance, the northern part of Ghana, the majority which borders with Burkina Faso, is majority Muslim. And then you have the central part and the southern part of Ghana, which is majority Christianity, and then of course you have the local religions.
But, local traditional African.
Exactly.
Right.
So at that point, Ghana, after the independence, of course, they just going through the reconstruction and people trying to just get their hands on whatever they could. Right. So, but going back to our point, I just recently discovered from my mother that my dad had that kind of entrepreneurial spirit.
So after independence, he decided to go, there ain't going to be no work here. I need to get that business mindset going, and that's when the petrol station
started.
Okay, right.
But for me, particularly coming back to the 21st century, it was the cultural shift.
Yeah.
Because particularly for me, growing up in a country where I didn't really have that exposure to many people from the Caribbean culture.
Yeah.
And in Italy, we didn't really have many entrepreneurial black driven people.
Representatives.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I came here to the UK, what happened is that I attended one of the UK Black Business Show in London, and that was something that triggered actually.
Wow. Okay.
Because for the first time, then what happened? You see, business that are fully run by the community, which is the Caribbean, the African, that potentially they actually can do something out of their career, right?
Yeah.
So just seeing that, right? It gave me that kind of I can try, right?
Yeah.
So and then that helped me to just start diving into what it means to do business. What is business effectively? And when it comes to business, I do strongly believe that along with the exposure is also how you are or who you are as a person. The actual inner instincts that you have.
Yes.
Because there are some character traits that you can't really hide. Like either you have it or not.
Yeah.
Sometimes. You can train as much as you want, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But I do generally believe that some people have actually those few traits that actually push them to just be entrepreneurs themselves.
Yeah. And coming back to the question is, what makes someone a business person? And that's exactly it. There's always something. I think everybody's got some of those traits.
Yeah.
But something happens to us, and for you, it was like going to the show and maybe a bit of the granddad's influence even before you knew it. Then what we do is then, like anybody else would, someone who's then a doctor or a surgeon or a lawyer, certain parts of their personality will get stronger and stronger and stronger, and the other one maybe not as strong because they don't need it as much. Same with a business person, is that certain parts of, for example, with me and you, we're quite big on networking.
Yeah.
But prior to us being business owners, we never had an opportunity to network, really. Or it was focused towards a very small demographic. For Bet365, it would have been, well, these are the only people that you network with.
There, you network. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. Whereas now we're sort of doing that. And over the years, I've seen it with you, and you've seen it with me, where we just grow that networking muscle. And it's very important in business with what we sort of do. And that is you. But then at the same time, as you mentioned, you then got to be able to, or you got to be the type of person where you go, I'm going to let that muscle grow. I'm going to exercise it.
You have to.
Yeah.
And this one thing that when we met for the first time that I realized strongly is the networking bit.
Yeah.
Because you have a network which can go from, standard, the local people.
Yeah.
To people that you can connect with just across the globe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not a skill that I do strongly believe that it's really undervalued.
I agree.
It's undervalued because the ability for you to build a rapport or a relationship that can be on not only understanding but mutual benefit is not really appreciated.
And for me, on a personal level, when it came to it, I never meant to internationally network. It was COVID that pushed me to do that.
Yeah.
And it was having to, and I think why a lot of people don't, because people don't understand what networking is or how useful it is, or maybe they don't need it because they're just happy with their 9 to 5, and that's cool, right?
That's fine.
And that's where it comes in different people, different. What's the phrase I'm looking for? Different. I was going to say different strokes for different something, but different horses for courses, right? And we both done it where we've walked into stuff. I mean, Leah's thing was there was me and you, and that was it. I knew of Leah.
Yeah.
But at no point was we were going to spend the whole evening with Leah. She was hosting a 250, 300 people networking event. But we had to, something in our mind triggers where we go, yes, I'm anxious. Yes, I'm scared. And a bit worried, right? Because you've got 2 people of colour walking into a networking event where it's probably going to be, well, it's Manchester, so there's more. But we're used to walking into rooms where we're the only people of colour. And there's something in your mind that's got a trigger where you go, that's cool, but I just need to numb that for a second because there's something more important.
Exactly. How do you suppress that though? There's many people that don't really understand that.
Yeah.
But that's because it's that character that you are able actually to suppress.
Something that you turn. I mean, you will still feel it. I still feel the anxiety and fear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How many times, like with myself, that I had to build that confidence, because then when you're exposed to kind of the fashion industry that you're just exposed, you can't really do it.
Yeah.
But how many times do you feel that nudge in the back say, oh, you can't see, don't stick here? And people sometimes will actually make you feel that.
Yeah.
But you have to override it.
You do.
You have to
something in your mind's got to go.
Exactly. And
that's something more important here.
Exactly. And that's one, I strongly believe that's one of the traits that, an entrepreneur has to have. Regardless of you fitting on a room.
Yeah.
There's some action that you have to override.
Would you even argue the fact that you actually don't want to fit into the room at all?
Oh.
Do you think there's strength in that? Is there strength in, but somebody once said to, I'll never forget it, it was only recently someone said to me that when they walk into a networking event, they've been to a few networking events and they've met me, and they said, something happens when I walk into this room, my eyes are drawn to you. And the guy was like, it's got a little element of the way that you dress. And he actually mentioned my hair and stuff. And he's like, there's something about it. And it was an OG that said it. And I know there's a lot behind what he's saying and stuff. And I still don't fully understand exactly where he's going with it. But it's interesting. And I just wanted to ask you what your thoughts, because I do it all the time. I mean, the other week I went to a pottery painting class and I knew no one. And the weird thing in my mind now, I do these things on purpose. Yeah. I want to go into rooms where I know no one. And I'm in a really stupid, I don't do painting. I'm not artistic. I don't know what to do. I can't draw a face.
Yeah.
I can't, but this is not my thing. But I purposely wanted to put myself in a really crazy situation, and other people, and I didn't know this until I talked to people that are not business owners. People sat there and go, what the hell? Why are you punishing yourself? And I'm like, I don't feel as though it's punishing. I feel
Yeah.
as though it's a bit challenging as well. So what are your thoughts? Do you think, would you rather walk into a room where you know no one and you're doing something crazy and nobody's like you, has your same background, is totally not what you would do? Or would you rather walk into a room where you know 20 people?
Like that 100% I would go for the first one.
Yeah.
Which rather I want to be in a room where I do absolutely feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I do already know that I'm uncomfortable. But is that the courage bit that you have to overcome and ride?
Yeah,
Because then out of that, then you actually build strength on that skill.
Yeah.
Right. And I was so it happened to me that I was just recently at the coffee shop, and usually I don't go to the coffee shop just to work. I mean, you just take a coffee and that's it. But at the coffee shop, there's always someone that will try to approach you. Then you have the opportunity. Then there's something coming up.
Right? That might happen. That never happens to me. I sit in coffee shop, no one talks to me.
Yeah, but perhaps
that's just
perhaps
you,
that's me. Sometimes just my luck.
Yeah.
But you have to. You have to. Sometimes it's very.
It's a nice light way of exposing yourself to what it feels like. I think if someone's never been networking or anything like that, or wants to sort of know what it feels like, I think it's a good sort of way to go. I'm just going to go to the coffee shop and I'm just going to sit there and drink my coffee on my own.